Hello and welcome again to the course in Contemplative Intelligence. It is fantastic that we have begun the process and looked at what can only be described as a new language, a new way of seeing the world, yourself and other people. Learning a new language is not easy to do. It's not an easy thing, but it is well worth it. What we aim to get out of this is a new life. The sky really is the limit. Many people are bogged down by stress, depression, anxiety, and other issues. Some people are overcoming trauma, and other people need to improve their performance and get to a place where they are attracting what they want into their lives. So how we begin is we start thinking about thinking. So we always say the 7 most important words ever strung together in a sentence are: as you think, so shall you be. As you think, so shall you be. And this course is about thinking. The brain, the nervous system, is running the show. And up until a certain point, it does a pretty decent job. But being human, we need more. We are very, very emotional beings. We are psychological and physical. But even more importantly, to add to the mix, we are also spiritual beings. In other words, we look for meaning and purpose. We have questions to answer in life, and we want those answers to come our way. If we don't get those answers, psychologically speaking, we become anxious, our thinking becomes more and more obsessive, and our behavior more and more compulsive by nature. So we are going to do something very, very special. We are going to change physiologically, psychologically, emotionally, and spiritually in this course. We're going to put together a package that slowly leads us through a place where we move from what we call the downstairs of our brains to the upstairs of our brains. So the downstairs of our brains is where we are really ruled by fight, flight, freeze. Things like anxiety and playing the victim card have served us and helped us. But if our lives are not working for us, we are probably locked in the downstairs department of our brain. Gray matter starts to build up in this back part of your brain. And what happens then is we become prone to overthinking. And listen to this one. If you overthink anything, it becomes negative. And it is like burning your hand on a hot stove. But the only difference is emotionally you keep your hand there. And this is where the real damage comes in. So we will learn from this week to have an experience called a shift, an awakening, a conscious experience, a satori, or an instant awakening. People would call it being born again, being awakened, probably from a nightmare into a dream. Is it all possible? Yes. Another thing we will do is look back, all the way back in history, and we will look at the mystics, the monks, the Stoics, and we will look at people today, what scientists are really saying about intelligence, about our ability to change, perform better, grow, and lead lives of purpose. So we're going to do it all, spiritually and psychologically, in a relatively short amount of time. For 6 weeks, for the first course, you will be able to get a great idea about what contemplation really is, how you can become the witness to your own thinking, and how that can impact every single area of your life. And we've seen this happen. again and again and again, running our center for healing and life transformation in South Africa. So we don't need the evidence. We have seen it again and again. So you will need to trust the process until you see these changes for yourself. So let's begin this week's session by running through what has happened in the course, where we should be, what we should be doing, concentrating on, and how we can unwrap and unbox this magical experience, which some people say is an incredible opportunity that we ask you not to just let you pass by. Week 1 is Genesis week. So in the beginning, if we look at the Bible, we would possibly see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times where it says, and God created this, and the next thing, and it was good. It was good. It was good. It was good. It was very good. And that is as much as we need to read to understand that life is good, no choice. So a Genesis for us here today is not only a beginning, but a new beginning. Life begins anew with each breaking day. And so we are going to join life. We are going to connect with life in a way that you might not have imagined possible before. We're going to discover what a Genesis really means. So no matter how many times you've tried before, this is another opportunity to change every aspect of your life for the better. This week, you would have taken the assessment. And the assessment is a number of questions just to get a feel for which category of master insurgents and your 10x ego insurgents are really attacking our nervous system the most. Our master insurgents and our ego insurgents put us into survival brain. They put us in that downstairs in the back of our brains that we were speaking about earlier, and there's no creativity there. Creativity is all stored in the front and the upstairs of our brain, the prefrontal cortex and the cerebellum. So the assessment will start with 3 master insurgents. 1, fear. Fear is all about being anxious, being afraid, and letting that grow into a monster as we get older. Something that really hinders us from what we really want to achieve in our lives. Fear moves on to distrust as a second category. Distrust is really concerned with our relationships, how we become codependent, how we sabotage our relationships in business and at home, and how we can really enhance them by just putting our distrust master insurgents into a manageable position. And then we have, from fear to distrust, we have our drama master insurgent. And drama is something that we all suffer from. It keeps us away from the bad feelings. It's our brain's way of distracting us from everything that we need to do to actually change our lives. The brain loves to cope. It loves to survive first and foremost. And it is a billion-year-old brain called the lizard brain or monkey mind. And we want to move from that lizard brain or monkey mind to a place that we call your sacred self. So the assessment will show you 10x ego insurgents. Please remember, do not be insulted by what these insurgents stand for. For example, one of your 10x ego insurgents is a victim insurgent. That insurgent is one of 10 major ways that your brain copes. It copes with trauma. It copes with disappointment. It copes with life from when you're 1 year old, and it makes its real first decision, our brain, of is the world a malevolent and violent place, or is the world a safe, loving and kind place. Now that decision happens again and again as we grow. Our brains get set in a F9 survival mode. So we know fight, flight, and freeze. We will learn a couple more of these, which we call F9. The assessment will show you how being a victim was once something that benefited us. Sometimes we had to kowtow. We had to play the victim as we relied on others for food, shelter, water, and love. We also learned how to become codependent. Our codependent insurgents were born to keep us safe, nurtured. They would keep us from, our codependent insurgents would keep us from feeling too alone, from not being able to do things ourselves. It was a way when we weren't very good at communication, thinking, feeling, that we could actually get what we needed to survive. And we will go through all of these insurgents through the course. Our actor, our codependent, our victim. Two of the most prominent, our controller and our judge, and so on. We will learn about these insurgents. The first port of call is looking at which category, fear, distrust, or drama that you belong to. Then we look at what 10x ego insurgents categories lie in there. And in there, you will see and discover your tendencies, probably your brain's tendencies to become codependent or a victim or a people pleaser or a perfectionist for that matter. So what we need to do is, if we want to break those cycles, if we want to change and we want something new, we can do it by weakening all of our insurgents. So on one side, the assessment will help us to become aware of what these insurgents are. We will then weaken our insurgents, and we will build and strengthen things like gratitude, love, presence, and so on. But we'll get into that a little bit later. For now, take the assessment and stay open. The assessment results do change over time, and they are just a guideline. Now, it's important to remember, even though you may be in one category today, you might have a tendency to fall into another category later on. It is incredible as the mind opens up and moves away from denial, from blame, and from always looking outward to looking inward and looking to the self. If we want to change the world, we need to change how we see the world. And how we see the world is from inside. So we will become aware. We will then weaken our insurgents and strengthen our sacred self. In Genesis week, you would have received a welcome pack. And within that welcome pack are 60-day challenges, 60 ways that you can challenge yourself each and every day to start accomplishing small goals. So once we do that, we can have our brain start to realize that uncertainty is okay, that not knowing the answers are okay. And so we can develop certainty in change and grow. So 60 challenges will help us do that. And they are fun ways that every day we can do something to strengthen our sacred selves. In the welcome pack, there are 6 weekly calendars. There's also a contract for you to sign, which is an agreement with yourself. We must remember that there are 2 sides to all of us, a shadow side or an ego, or a small self, and then a spiritual side or a larger self that need to now infuse, they need to connect. And how we're going to do that is through awareness, then acceptance, and then taking new action. So the contract is an agreement between the parties here. A persona is a mask. It is the parts of us that we need to put together. Our sacred self is going to work with our insurgents, and it's going to make us move forward and achieve what we really, really want in life. So making that contract is a simple and fun way to actually put down your intentions in writing, your mission statement, and keep first things first. We then also give you a CQ mind yoga tracker. So mind yoga are some of the exercises that we do on a daily basis. We learn breathing. We learn relaxation techniques. We learn how to weaken certain aspects of ourselves and strengthen others. All of these things are sent to you as mind yoga, and there are many of them, and they will come to you each day. Some of them are as short as a minute or two, but that's enough to start creating new neural pathways, to start getting the zeros and the ones to actually work together. So that's what we'll do with that. And finally, you will have a CQ journal to be able to write your progress, what you did for the day, so that you can see where you are in the course. So that is your CQ welcome pack. With Mind Yoga, we will start by looking at doing 100 reps a day. This includes various different things, from walking to listening to meditations, mindfulness work. All of it counts. Your mind yoga counts as well. Doing 100 mind yoga reps a day is how we get our mind strong. Our bodies are strong through doing physical exercise and lifting weights. We will train our minds in a very similar way. Each time we go to the work, we activate focus. And then when we go away from the work, we activate relaxation. We breathe. And it is actually what we did in the focus time will only be activated in the relaxation time. This 0-1 binary system combination rarely has the power that drives contemplative intelligence. We look forward to teaching you about it all this week. Just 20 to 40 minutes a day are necessary for the course. Some people prefer longer and some people prefer less time. It all depends. If you include your walking and other things, you might find that you are spending a couple of hours a day on the course. 6 weeks rarely isn't a long time, so we suggest that you put this course first. You must put this work first if you are wanting to achieve maximum results for yourself. If you have tried a lot in the past and it has not worked, perhaps it's time to learn about these focus and relaxation techniques. Let's become intelligent in the highest way. Intellect will do nothing but cut you to pieces. Emotional intelligence is one of the ways through to sacred self. Social intelligence is all about connection, and we will use all of these intelligences to activate the highest intelligence of all, contemplative intelligence. Focus of the days will be sent to you from time to time. They will be sent via message, and they are there to make you start becoming aware of where you are in your day, what you're doing, what you're thinking. After all, contemplation is a new way of looking at absolutely everything in life, from the universe that extends possibly infinitely to an internal, beautiful, sacred self that you might never have explored because of fear, distrust, or drama. That is all going to change as we practice our mind yoga and develop CQ reps. We can't expect to get to the top of a mountain or to a peak point in life without developing some fitness first. So each and every day, we need to hack away and chip away at what has become habit, what has become neural pathways in our head. Michelangelo described the statue of David as something that always existed within the marble. He was asked once, how on earth did you get the statue of David to look so beautiful? What kind of map did you have? And he said, I always knew that David was inside the marble. All I had to do was chip away at the excess. And that's exactly what we're going to do here as we start this course. All the important parts of the course are marked with plus, plus, plus signs, and the not so important are marked with minus, minus, minus signs. This is simply because we don't want to overload people with work that don't have the time or the energy or the capacity at the moment to do that. And they might need healing right now. You can always do the course later, again, as many people do. So the plus, plus, plus signs help people who are pushed for time to be able to pick out easily what is the most important focus of the day. Each week, we will look at giving you an estimated progress report of where you are and where you should be in the course. We will also have 5 videos that will help you understand where you are for the week and what has been covered and what was most important. This course is not about giving our clients tons and tons of writing to try and make the course look good. It is about thinking. It is about feeling, and it is about experiencing the awesomeness of God, self, and other. In other words, what is within us, what is outside of us that we can see, and then again, what we can't see, but we know exists. Contemplative intelligence is explained in a number of videos. Allow it to unfold. As we said before, this is like learning a new language. It's not easy to pick up a guitar for the first time and be able to play something great. It takes time, focus, and dedication. So let's remember that as we go through the course. So we wish you the most incredible success as you go through the work. Go through it and then keep coming back to the work. Some of the work you will like and some you may not like as much. There might be some mind yoga exercises that you don't like or you don't feel comfortable with. Don't do those. We send you a ton of different work, and the reason why we do that is so that you can choose a video audio process that really suits you deeply, that relaxes you particularly. So as we breathe or relax, we meditate, we contemplate, we center ourselves, and so on and so forth. Choose what works for you, and what doesn't, discard. There's way more than enough material in the course to allow you to work. So what we want to do with contemplation right now, this week, is to start looking at what we're really looking at. So that might sound strange. Let's take an apple, for example. You've seen an apple a million times. Your brain literally doesn't notice the colors, the textures. It doesn't ask questions. Where did this come from? Where is it going? How can it benefit me? And how am I part of it? So as simple as that is, there are much bigger things to contemplate. Who am I? What am I doing here? If you've experienced a death in the family or a sickness, you might need to rethink that, and your trauma and your anxiety, or your personality itself, which is the mask that you wore to get you to this very point, this very tipping point, where you can now cross over, shift, and change your life for good. So what we're going to do is rethink everything, because what has to change? Everything. It does not take that long to do it. It is not that hard to do. And it is possible for almost all people. In fact, I've never met somebody who cannot do this work. So stay open. Trust the process of the work, or you're not going to get anywhere. If you're closed, there's no ways we're going to penetrate you. There's no ways anyone will. And if you haven't been able to do it yourself, how possibly would anyone else do it? So be open to everything in the course and attached to nothing. Don't get ideas in your head that this, and this do not work for you. There is so much variety in the course that you will find. you will find what you need that you can work with and that can make all the changes necessary in your life. So see how it unfolds for you. For each person, this course is incredibly different. Next week, we will look more at the ego, our ego defenses, and how it actually sabotages us as an adult. What served us in the morning of life no longer serves us in the evening of life. If we're always anxious, stressed, angry, burnt out, it's not going to work. Don't cope with it and don't stay that way, because you can heal your life. And this course is a way, is a pathway, is a conduit to re-looking at what really, really works inside you. A person can choose their attitude at any given time, and that's incredible. Right now, you can choose to be gracious, you can choose to be positive, in a state of gratitude, or you can be closed, judgmental, and point fingers at people. So those are the choices we have today. Let's use them wisely, because two roads really do diverge in the wood. Let's take the one less traveled.